Stop waiting to get paid. It's the name of the workshop today. Are you able to see this okay? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
Cool. Stop waiting to get paid. Get paid upfront, on time, every time. No more awkward conversations about money, no more admin, and I'm going to show you how in this workshop. So the thing that kind of kicked off this workshop for me was this meme, which you see everywhere. And freelancers, it's not just freelancers, it's small business owners, it's solopreneurs, it's everyone really. But this meme, waiting to get for final payment, this is the pain point that everyone struggles with. In terms of that scale of 1 to 5, where would you say you are on this scale?
Well, I've got this one client. I guess everybody has this one client.
One client,
keep on pushing and calling, and then they are not even sorry about it. But yeah, I'm there. I hate it.
It's funny because it's only ever one client. Everyone says this. Most clients, you know, it sounds like throughout this workshop that every client is a dickhead, and they're really not. It's always the one client that ruins it for everyone else. And that one client, we'll talk about this, but that one client will be like, you know, 20% of your business, but they'll cause 80% of your problems because they're just all about the problems. So basically, this workshop is all about helping solopreneurs and entrepreneurs like you to build a 6-figure business. There's loads of materials out there on how to do this. The market is saturated with material on how to build a 6-figure business, and everyone wants to get 6 figures. The thing that they all miss is building a 6-figure business without burnout, and that's what I'm all about. There's a lot of chat about work-life balance, but for me, it's a lot of that is chat and not actually practice. So I'm all about helping people do it without the stress and without the pain of getting there. So this is what a lot of freelancers look like. Some of them are kind of breaking past the 5 figures, but they start to just get manic and just getting absolutely burnt out with it. In terms of scale 1 to 5, how do you feel about that one?
5. It's like I'm on the verge. I mean, I have my 5 figures, I guess, for this year, which is not that much because I'm doing it as a side hustle, but I feel there's a lot of pressure and tension and question marks how to scale without burning out. And that's a very big point of mine, to not go crazy. I still want to live. And I mean, what's the money for if I'm in 6 feet under? You know, what's the point? Exactly.
What's the point? And I'm going to talk about the wrong goals or the right goals for people, because this is the part that a lot of people struggle with, and that's part of what my signature program deals with as well. So if you're going to want to get to that 6 figures without killing yourself or going crazy, you're basically going to need systems that scale, and that's the only way you're going to be able to scale without burnout. My promise to you is I will teach you tried and tested 6-figure systems for solopreneurs that I have built for my own business, and they're built on these 3 pillars. Profit, because every business exists to make a profit. That's why we do it. But the thing that most people miss is stability. So not feeling like, oh, you just made a whole load of money and now you've got to figure out how to actually do the job. And freedom, because most people get into solopreneurship and starting their own business and freelancing because they want freedom from the 9 to 5. They want to run their own life the way they want to, and that's the part that people struggle with the most, ironically. Some people get parts of these, and the more the issues, the more of this you have, the less of this you have, and the more of this you have, the less profit people tend to have. So it's a bit of a balance. This is just one system. Stop waiting to get paid is one system from our program. The 4 outcomes we're going to learn today in the next hour are: we're going to get paid up front. Now, I think we've all seen this this meme as well. It's like you sent the invoice and you're waiting on the payment.
Walter right there. Crossing the red line.
Outcome 2, we're going to avoid awkward conversations with money. I think we've all been in that situation where you're chasing the client and you're getting progressively more annoyed. And even though they are the one that has messed up and owe you money, you're the one that looks like the asshole because you're constantly hounding them for money. It's not right. We've all seen this one as well. We've seen every excuse under the sun, I'm sure, of, you know, when they're going to pay or why they haven't paid yet. So the 3rd outcome we're going to learn is we're going to get paid automatically. So we're not going to have to reach out to them to get payments. Not up to the client when they pay. It's going to get paid automatically. So again, another meme. If we just get paid on time, it's pretty simple. You know that that's the way it should happen. So why does it need to be such a big deal? Outcome 4, it's going to be easier to buy from you. And this is the one not many people expect. But when you have a system where you can send someone one link and they set up their bank details and then there's nothing else to do after that for them, it's much easier for you to sell. If you're selling courses and coaching, if you can send someone one link to sign up, that's quite powerful. There's no more, I'm sure you've been in that situation where you pitched a product or a service and then the client is ready to go on the phone, they're all geared up. You hang up the phone, you go and say to your partner, that's another job in the bag, and then silence, like weeks of silence waiting for them to pay their first invoice to come on board. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I had that. And the system that I'm now looking forward is, what's already in my mind is automation. From the moment somebody is actually in a discovery call with me, right after that, they get one email and that leads them through. Okay, these are my offers. This is how you can book it, and they pay upfront, and they can then select an appointment with me, and they can change that appointment or whatnot. But payment has been done, and they can actually do it themselves. How to find the time slot to actually meet me.
Yep, excellent. That's it. Automation is the key of freedom. Really, it's one of the key pillars. Automation, systemization, reduction, and delegation. That's basically your 4 pillars of freedom. Yep. When you have those in place, they're never really done because you'll always be working on them. But once you've got them in place, it'll free you up to work on your business instead of in your business. So definitely think along the right guidelines, or the right lines. So we're going to jump into the system. So feel free to take notes or ask questions. Before we go forwards, I'll go back a bit. Pardon me. So I've been freelancing pretty much my whole adult life. Ever since I was 15 and doing a paper round, I was already doing some kind of form of side hustle on the side. It's only really in the last couple of years that side hustling has really taken off because of lockdown and just the sad state of economic affairs. It used to be that one person could work one job and support a whole family. Nowadays, it's 2 people in a family working a full-time job and a side hustle to make ends meet, but that's politics for you. So basically going back, creatives seem to be one of the only people that work in arrears, and freelancers are one of the only ones that work in arrears. They're often wearing too many hats because as a solopreneur, there's just loads of things you've got to do and it all falls to you. You're doing the marketing, the sales, the finance. For me, invoicing was one of those jobs that took me particularly long to do. In my business, there was a lot of small payments, a lot of regular small recurring payments. So invoicing manually was just not an option. I would have been there all day just creating little invoices for 25 quid here, 50 quid there, plus obviously the one-off big jobs. So what I tried was I started on a manual system. Is that where you are just now? Are you manually invoicing? Do you have a software?
I do it manually, yeah.
Manually. So you're kind of at stage 1 where you're manually invoicing. I then moved to an automated system using ClickUp, which sent emails depending on the project phase. And then finally, I moved to invoicing software like Free Agent, which has automated invoices and automated reminders. It was a big step forwards. It saved me a lot of time. But they all had the same inherent problems. Clients still only pay when it suits them. So you can't force them to pay. That was the issue. And you end up with situations like this where you've asked them to pay, the client wants you to proceed with the project, and you say, well, can you pay your invoice? And they go, yeah, sure, but just a few more changes. And they dangle that invoice like a carrot in front of you to get you to do more work.
Yeah.
You ever had that?
Pain in the ass.
And the gall of it, you're asking them to pay and they're asking you to do more work before they pay you. It's like, well, pay your first invoice.
Yeah.
So the issue with this is most people think that you do the work and then you get paid. And there's all sorts of problems with this system working this way. You spend more time on admin than earning. It's hard to charge for extras. You feel awkward chasing money. You're at the start, for me, certainly clients were precious and you're scared of annoying them. And you just find yourself eroding that relationship every time you talk about money. And the worst one is projects stall. If you can't progress because you haven't been paid, the project just grinds to a halt, and then you can't get paid for future invoices because you can't do the work because you haven't been paid. So it's catch-22.
Yeah.
And of course, at the end, you end up kind of hating your own customers and you're just stressed out your box.
Yeah.
So what if I told you you could get paid upfront without asking for the payment? Sound good?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So here's how it works. You're going to get paid and then you're going to start working. I have one chat about money during my initial sales call, and that's it. After that point, the only thing I'm talking to the client about is, how are your kids? What's your feedback on the latest phase? I can work on a project for I've got some projects that have been running for 6-8 months, and I know the money is coming in. I don't even need to look at it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I can work that way is because I have a system in place. So there's 3 parts to it, and the secret to removing ourselves from payments and still get paid is so damn simple. It's been staring me in the face for years, and the only reason why I didn't do it is because no one else was working this way. And just because no one else is doing it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You know, a lot of people are like sheep. They'll just do what everyone else is doing. It doesn't make it smart. So we want to be different. We have to work smarter and better than everyone else if we want to get ahead. So the 3 parts to this: fees are always up front. We are always getting paid before we do the work. Fees are always taken by direct debit. So they're charged automatically by direct debit. And fees are always broken down into a payment plan in installments. So if you're doing something like social media, you'll already be charging on a monthly retainer. If you're doing one-off things like coaching or web design, you break those larger payments into multiple payments, and that just makes it easier for people to buy in as well. So these 3 parts will vary slightly depending on the nature of your business and your services, but these are the 3 parts you need. You need to take fees up front, you need to automate your payments, and you need to split large payments into chunks.
So may I quickly ask, if I now sell something for, I don't know, $1,000, and so it would be recommended to break it down into, I don't know, a monthly charge over the course of a year, or something smaller that it's not such a big chunk. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. So exactly. So the exact nature of the installments you'll have to play with to find the right balance. If it's something for 25 quid, you don't need to break that down. People will, small ticket items, people will jump in and pay 25 quid, no bother. If it's a large payment, I'd say anything over like probably about 300, 400 quid, I guess. But that's just a ballpark. Anything over like 400 quid, you should be breaking it down. So for me personally, if I'm charging someone $2,000 for a brand, I'll break that down into 5 payments over 2 months. It's like 8 weeks. It's a payment every 2 weeks. It's nice and easy to understand. If I'm charging them $1,000 for, I don't know, a mini branding project or something like that, or coaching, say you're charging coaching for $1,000, you could break that into 4 payments over a month or 2 months. It's really up to you how you split those payments. The important thing is finding a balance where each payment amount psychologically is not a large amount in their head. You're like, oh, okay, 4 payments of $250, I can make that work, you know. And at the end of the day, you are helping them by doing that. It's like 0% finance. If you, for example, my course, if I say to a freelancer, you know, my course is 1,200 quid, that's a lot of money for someone starting out. But if I say to them, well, it's 4 payments split over 3 months, that's a lot easier to stomach for them, because they can have some money coming in while they work. So does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So in terms of the system, this is how it works for me. I check my bank once a month. It takes me 10 minutes, and I'm not even looking for incoming payments. I know they're coming in. I'm checking more for expenditure that I've missed. So in terms of my system, over the last 10 days, I've taken just under $9,000 and 52 separate payments, and I've spent 0 time doing that. Absolutely 0. It's all fully automatic. So how do we set all this up and stop waiting to get paid? How do we get paid up front? How do we stop wasting time in admin? And how do we avoid awkward conversations? So there's 3 parts to it. We're going to build our automated system. We're going to onboard our customers into that system, and we're going to set up the payments. So I'll run through the first stage just now. Is there any questions before I crack on?
That's all good.
Okay. So here's the system, and this is the most complex diagram you'll see in this presentation. So don't worry, I'll explain it. So there's 3 parts. There is an invoicing system like Free Agent that's going to automate the invoicing to the customer. There's a direct debit system like Go Cardless, which is going to automate the payments, taking the actual payments and the money. And then there's an online banking, which will collect your payments and also tell your invoicing system when that the amounts have been paid. And these all integrate seamlessly. So once it is set up, you don't need to do anything. For the customer side of things, how it works for the customer is they'll get an invoice from Free Agent. They'll know that the payment will automatically be taken by Go Cardless, and they'll get a notification when the payment is taken. So it's as simple as that. On your end, you'll see, you'll have a system where you can see the invoices, you'll see the money going into Go Cardless and then into your bank. and you can check the invoices on Free Agent as well.
Mm-hmm. So the invoices would automatically change status if the online banking confirms a payment has been made, and then only I could track and view the overdue payments.
Yep, exactly. There shouldn't really be any that are overdue, though. The idea is that these payments should just come in automatically. If they're overdue, it's a sign that there's a problem with their direct debit, or there's no money in their account, and we'll get to that. But so in terms of costs to set up the system, there's some really minimal costs to set up the system. Go cardless will take a small slice of your action. I think it's like 1%. Free Agent will charge a small monthly fee, but Free Agent is a full-on accounting software. It is definitely worth the money. It would do your corporation returns. It would do your tax returns. If you are above the level where you're now VAT registered in the UK, it will also do that for you. And like you said, it will track all your income and your cash flow. There's a link here, which I will drop into the chat for you, which will get you 10% off Free Agent as well. I'll get 10% off and you'll get 10% off. So you can use that later if you want to set up Free Agent. Go cardless. Some people balk at the 1% that they take. I would advise that in terms of the time you're going to get back, it is 100% worth it. Don't even sweat that 1% because it's just so much worth it in terms of time and stress. Right. So the first step you're going to do is sign up for accounting software. Free Agent is the one I use. You can use that link there. There are alternatives like Xero or QuickBooks if you're already using them, but I would just go with Free Agent, to be honest. The next stage is sign up for Go Cardless, which is that's going to take your payments, and that's free to sign up. You just need to set up your bank details in each of them. It takes about 10 minutes, and you can link Free Agent and Go Cardless and your bank together. Like we said, link all three systems. You just go into settings and add Go Cardless, add your bank. It's really quick and easy. Once you've set up these three systems, you can customize your emails and your invoices. So they provide templates to start, and I just make some really small changes to their templates. You can see here I've just added my logo, a footer, and that's pretty much it. I added in my name, Design Hero, and that's all that I've changed for the emails. And these are the emails that your customers will get each time they get an invoice. As a bonus tip, I would also send the from email address to an email that's not your personal email address. And the reason why we do this is because we're separating ourselves from the payment system. And some people feel this is slightly dishonest, but I put a name in there. I say from Lauren at team at Design Hero. Now, there is no Lauren at Design Hero. If you feel that's dishonest, you can put in accounts. Accounts at Design Hero is also fine. And now the reason why we do that is because people are only human, and you will at some point make a mistake. Now, when you accidentally charge the client 100 quid instead of 10 quid or something like that, and they call you raging to say, why have I been charged 100 quid? Basically, what
you can blame it on Lauren.
Yeah, you can go, oh, I'm really sorry. Lauren must have made a mistake. My system must have made a mistake. There must be a mistake in the system. I'm going to sort that for you right now. And you do 100% sort it for them immediately and refund them any money you've accidentally charged. Make sure that's just good customer service. But the beauty of that is, instead of you now being the guy who made a mistake, you're the guy who's helping them fix that mistake. And in their head, that reframes you as someone who just provided them with a good experience instead of someone who provided them with a bad experience. It's a very powerful tool. I've actually had someone at the end of that process, like actually singing your praises, even though you were the one that made the mistake. It doesn't happen very often, but people are only human. It happens. So just a small bonus tip. You can customize your invoices. Again, I dropped my logo on here, my address, and that's pretty much it. This is just an off-the-shelf template that they provide. So that's basically all the setup you need for the actual initial system. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So now we're going to onboard our customers into this system, and this is usually the bit that most people have concerns about, and I'm going to show you how to pitch it with no resistance. Most people are concerned that clients will not like the idea of being charged by direct debit. But however, I think you'll be surprised. In my experience, clients love this system. And the reason why they love it is because it's so predictable and it's so clear. They know exactly how much they're going to be charged and exactly when they're going to be charged. It's less work for them and it's one less thing to worry about. And when you explain all this to them, by the end of it, they'll be like, all right, okay, so I don't need to do anything. You're like, nope. And they're like, right, and I know exactly when the payments are coming out. Yep, I'll email you that. So, they actually really like the system as long as you explain the benefits to them. And I'll tell you how I pitch it to them. So I pitch it at the end of a sales call, after you've already closed them and after they've given you the go-ahead that they want to go ahead with the project. And the key is really just speaking with confidence. You're not giving them options or saying, well, we might charge you by direct debit. You're just saying, this is how I take payment and this is how it works. You're just explaining your onboarding process. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's exactly pretty much word for word how I pitch it to new clients. So I say our fees are taken by direct debit in 5 equal payments. You'll receive your invoices by email 7 days before payments are taken. I'll send you a link from our system, set up your direct debit. Your first payment will secure your place in our work queue. And that's a key line. Don't skip this one, because that's telling them that nothing happens until that first payment has been taken. And if they're in a rush, obviously they will need to set up that link quickly if they're in a rush. It's not up to you to rush with their project, rush on ahead to save time. It's up to them to set up that payment. So for older clients, it's slightly trickier because they are used to paying in a certain way. I don't know what your services look like. Sometimes if you're doing something like social media and you have recurring payments and for years they've been paying manually, you need to move them over to the new system. And if you've got hundreds of old clients, it's going to take you a bit of time. If you've only got a couple of clients and you tend to have new clients coming in, I would just transition away from the old system, and any old ones then peter out. So this is what I say for old clients. We're moving to a new invoicing system where all your payments will be totally automatic. All our payments will be taken via direct debit. You'll get an invoice automatically from our system 7 days before payment comes out. This will mean we don't need to chase you for payments and you don't need to remember to pay them. I'll send you a link from our payment system so you can set up your new direct debit. As simple as that.
So the biggest fear of a customer might be that you charge them too much, or the installment doesn't stop and they get charged frequently, even though they don't get anything in return.
Yeah, exactly. So what I say in response to that in terms of rejection handling, they will receive an invoice 7 days before any payment is taken. So they'll always know if there's a payment going to come out, they'll know 7 days before. So they haven't really got that excuse to say, no, I didn't know that was going to come out.
Yeah.
For the second point that you made, during my sales pitch, I also am sure to mention that their payments are not related to project progress. And that's a key point. Most freelancers work where their payments are tied to what phase of the project they're on. Myself, for example, if I'm doing a website for a client, I used to work where I would charge them after the initial charge them a deposit, charge them after the initial mock-up, charge them after detail design, and then charge them before launch. And the idea is that in theory, you can charge them before launch and you don't launch the website until it's paid. However, almost always website projects go on hold because you have to get content from the clients. If you're waiting on feedback and they're busy and don't get back to your feedback, everything stops and you can't get paid those last 3 invoices until you've moved past that phase. So it's a really bad way to work on projects which take a long time. So or complex projects. So basically what you're saying is project progress is not related to payments. It's one payment for whatever you're selling, but it's broken up into installments over a period of time. And it's a really beautiful way to work because it just gives you so much more control over the project progress.
Yeah, that's a good one. So would you, in that concern, also suggest to rather sell packages, say a package of 5 coachings instead of charging each individually?
Yeah, definitely. If you're selling coaching, it would be much better to sell a weekly coaching call for 2 months as one package than charging individual coaching calls, because they might have weeks that they miss. They might change their mind halfway through. Usually they wouldn't change their mind if they're getting value out of your coaching. But you never know, people might just miss calls or whatever. So yeah, they're paying for that full package of coaching over installments. And then the onus is on them to turn up for their coaching calls. And you will be amazed at how much this changes the dynamic of your relationship with your clients. See, when they paid for something, they place value in it in their head, subconsciously or consciously, and they will start showing up more because they paid for it already. And I found this in my own projects for web design and branding. My number one hold up on projects was waiting for content from clients. You just never get it from them, and I would end up getting a copywriter involved, but that would take weeks of them trying to do it themselves and failing. Basically, after this system, they get a bit of a move on because they've already paid for the thing, and they're like, right, well, if I've paid for it, I want to get value out of it. And I'm like, yep, but I can't progress until I get this content. And they're like, right, I'll put some time towards it and do it. And they do it because they paid for it and they want to see the value. And that's the way you pitch it as well. If you want to get value out of this, make sure you're showing up, make sure you're participating, whatever it is.
Yeah, great.
Was there any other concerns that you think clients would have, or objections, or?
No, I guess over here in Germany, I guess, I mean, something that is special over here is that people would get paid only once a month. That's fixed. So by the end of the month, they get their salaries. And so what usually people are cool with is paying right after they got their salary. So rather have one monthly payment as an installment over the course of 3 months instead of having a weekly payment, because that's harder to grasp.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I mean, to be honest, I don't think that's so much of a concern as you think. It's the same over here. Most 9-to-5ers are paid monthly. That's the stand. If you're on a wage, you're paid monthly at the end of the month. I've never had any problems from my customers, and most of my customers are startups and small businesses who have been working and have moved into turning a side hustle into a business, and none of them seem to have a problem with it. So you can try it and see, and if you get pushback, you can move to the monthly payments if that's easier.
Yeah.
The only thing is you don't want to be over too long. Like, you don't want to spread an £1,000 payment into 6 payments over a year. That's too long.
Yeah, right.
And you could still end up getting stung if they, backtrack or whatever. So basically just work it out so that you're always working ahead of time. That's how I like to do it. And that's why I do 2 months for a website, because 2 months is about the right time it takes me to do a website. So the payments work out nicely with the project. They're not related to project progress, but they do tend to work out nicely along the same time. So it's easy for people to grasp.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so what happens if payments fail? It does happen every now and again. Once in a blue moon, though, you'll get an email to let you know that a payment has failed. Payments will reattempt automatically. So again, you don't need to do anything. You just keep an eye on it. They'll reattempt 3 times. And usually I just ping an email to a client, say, by the way, your payments failed, it's going to reattempt. Please make sure there's money in the account. It's nearly always down to money not being in the account. Sometimes there's a problem with the direct debit, but it's happened to me, I think, 3 times this year. It's really not a big deal. What happens if they cancel the direct debit? Again, this does happen from time to time if people move banks or they panic and cancel all their direct debits. You just send them another email task and set it back up, and just be nice about it. It's probably happened by accident. I normally say, how's things? Received an alert the direct debit's been cancelled. Probably a mistake, so don't worry, I'm not going to cut you off, but we need to set this back up again ASAP. I've sent you another link. And it's as simple as that. You can add in a line, say, if your payments fail, I won't be able to perform this service or whatever. So but yeah, that all make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. So the last part of our system is basically we're going to set up the payments for new customers. And this is the only manual part of this process, and it's done at the start of a project. And after that point, you don't need to worry about it again. After that point, everything's automated. So say you've got a new coaching customer coming on. We'll use that as an example. The first thing you do, you go into your free agent, your invoicing system, and you add a new customer. And you just type in their details, John Doe, his address, his email, and you add a new direct debit mandate. Now, this mandate, once you've set up that mandate, that will be used for all future payments. So you only need to do it once. If you then work with that customer later to do a brand audit, or you're selling them your book or anything like that, you can take those payments through direct debit. All right. Any future payments through that one direct debit. So when you send them the direct debit, the customer will get a link, an email, that looks like this. We want to set up a direct debit mandate. It will tell you who it's for safety, and then there's a link, and that link will only last 24 hours. After that point, you need to send them another link, which is actually quite good because it allows you to put a bit of time pressure on it. So I say to them, this link will only last 24 hours. If you can't set it up within 24 hours, let me know, and I'll resend you another link to set it up. And what that does is it pushes them a wee bit to get on it and set it up. They then, when they follow that link, they'll come to a page that looks like this. It's got your logo on it, it's got your name on it, and they just put in their bank details. Simple as that. You'll receive an email when it's complete, and at that point, that customer is now on board. Like, you can consider that customer safe. You've set up their direct debit for any future payments you need to take. So we can now go back into free agent and we can set up their payment schedule. So when you're setting up the payment schedule, again, this will depend on what your services are. If you're doing coaching, say it's split into 4 payments every 2 weeks, you can set the date you want it to start. I always set it to that day. I basically set it to start immediately, because they've already set up their bank details, they're expecting to come on board. You can set the frequency, so every 2 weeks until a date. So you could work out that as 4 invoices, or you could just do it as a one-off. It's up to you. And the payment terms, I always set this to 0 days. And the reason for that is the way that the system works. So if you send an invoice today, it's going to send that request to Go Cardless, and Go Cardless will take that payment 6 days later, because legally you can't take a direct debit any less than 6 days before the invoice. So basically what I do, I make it 7 days because it's easier to understand for people. 7 days is a week. It's easy to understand. So I set the payment terms to 0 days. And I also add a note just to reconfirm that the payments will be taken by direct debit and they don't need to do anything. And I mention this everywhere so that they can't come back and say, I didn't realise that was going to be taken. It's all over the place. At the next stage, you just set up your invoice. So service, brand design, 1 of 5. You can check you just add the items you'd like on your invoice, basically.
Yeah.
You check the dates that your invoices are going out to make sure they're right. And you make sure that you've ticked direct debit so that the payments are taken by direct debit. And that's basically it. Once you hit activate, that invoice will now go out automatically. Payments will take via Go Cardless automatically. You don't need to do anything else. The customer will get all the invoices by email, and you'll get notifications from your bank each time it's paid. That makes sense? Payday.
Yeah, perfect.
It's as simple as that,
It's
really.
pretty smart.
Yeah, it all works together. Once you've set it up, it's really low maintenance, really low time. It takes you like 10 minutes to set up the invoice at the start of each project. And for me, my projects are different every time, so it takes a wee bit more time. It'll probably be quicker for you because you can save a template of your coaching invoices every time. So, so was there any questions about any of that?
Well, I'm just wondering whether they all work over here in Germany, but I'm going to check them out and see whether they provide their service here as well and internationally, and also connected to, the local tax law and all that kind of stuff.
They will. I'm like 99% sure that free agent and Go Cardless work in Europe. The only countries that Go Cardless doesn't work in, I know for sure, they don't accept Filipino and they don't accept African payments. Apart from that, international, like UK, US, Europe, they should be fine.
All right.
Just double check. See if you have any problems with it. Can you let me know? Because I like to know how people are getting on setting up this system. So if you do encounter a problem, let me know, and I'll work that into the workshop for the next one as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. And also I'll have a talk with the guys who helped me set up my new website. Because they had in mind to go with another provider, but I'm not so sure what services they offer. So I have to check with them. I'll let you know.
Yeah, no problem. That'd be good to know. So impact 1, what we've learned today, we learned to get paid up front. The result of that is projects are going to run smoother because we're controlling the pace of the project now. We're no longer tied to the customer paying before we can progress. Impact 2, we're going to avoid those awkward conversations about money, and that just means better client relationships. Every time you talk to a client about money, it just degrades the relationship. So you can treat them like your pals now and just have a much better experience.
Right.
Impact 3, we're getting paid automatically. So we're going to waste less time in admin, more time working on the business instead of in the business. That's just a no-brainer.
That's a big one.
And impact 4, it's going to be easier to buy from you. If you set this system up, you can actually have a customer set up on free agent within about a minute. So on the call, you can literally go, are you ready to come on board? Yep, great. All happy with the payments. I'll set you up right now. Put in their details, just put in their email and their name, and then ping them a link. And you can literally on the call get them to fill out their bank details, and that's them on board. And if you can onboard someone on a call, that's really powerful, in terms of a sales tool.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for the slides. I hope today you feel like you've learned a system that will help you work less and get paid more. That's basically the purpose of these slides. So.
Yeah.
In terms of I can talk to you a bit about the signature programs now. So anyone that says that it's easy to grow a 6-figure business, as we've talked about, is lying. There's just, social media is full of content about growing a 6-figure business at the moment. It's the buzzword, and it's not as easy as they all make out. There's a lot of stuff you got to do, a lot of stuff to learn, takes a lot of time, and learning the hard ways is a long way to go. A lot of people are kind of stuck in the side hustle zone and kind of plateaued, still working all hours and making less than a 9 to 5. I've been there myself. When I started Design Hero, I was there. There was a lot of gurus selling courses, and I get hammered on Instagram with course ads. There's a lot of gurus teaching you how to make 6 figures. I've been there too. I paid for a lot of courses myself. I paid for courses for content marketing, social media, SEO, paid traffic, and I don't regret the amount of money that I spent on courses, because they do help. Last year I hit my first 20k month, but the problem was I looked like this. It's that just totally burnt out, exhausted, no freedom. And it's like you're saying, it's like, why am I doing this? It all came to a head when I was on holiday in Rome with my wife. And I had emailed all my clients to let them know I was on holiday. Everything was ticking along quite well, quite automated in terms of the actual fulfillment. And yet I found myself in the hotel room at 10 p.m. at night drafting like a 50-page epic email to a disgruntled client over a £25 invoice, 25 quid. And I had said to them, I'm on holiday, I'll be back in 3 days. Like, I'm on the first holiday I've had in about 2 years, and they just would not let it go. And I stupidly kept responding and getting more and more irate and more annoyed. And it brought it home. There is no point in having a business that makes 200k a year if you have no time to enjoy it, if you're stressed and unhappy. Doesn't matter how much money you've got, if you've not got time to enjoy it, it's pointless.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the issue is it's easy to scroll through social media and fall into that trap of compare and despair, because everybody is promoting this super easy 6-figure business lifestyle that's just it's not obtainable easily. It is obtainable, but it's not obtainable easily. And the problem with the courses that I've all been on is don't let them fool you into focusing on doing more stuff. Like at the start of our call, you mentioned that you're onto your website, your sales funnel and your lead magnets and everything. And I can see you going down that route of just doing more. More ads equals more clients, equals more staff, more turnover, more overheads and more management. And you're just going to end up back in this circle of compare and despair.
Yeah.
The
back to the
easiest
9 to 5 crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Back in your 9 to 5. Yeah. And the easiest way for me to make more money is to do less. This is a thing that most people don't realize. If you half your input and achieve the same result, you've just doubled your profit. And on top of that, you've got more freedom because you're not stressed and thinking about, there's less mental tax when you do less. If you can remove all of the crap from your business, it leaves more room for the good stuff. Now, the good stuff is going to depend on what you want to do. And the purpose of my course is all about freedom to choose, really. For me, I like working 3 days a week and having days off to go out hiking and go out with the dog and cycling, go out in the car, kayaking. That's what I want to do. You could choose to work more. In the UK, certainly, after you earn 40k from your business in a wage, you get taxed at a higher rate of 40%. So there's diminishing returns. So there's no point in working 5 days a week and earning loads of money because it's all just going to the government instead of you. Right. There's other ways to get money out of your business, of course, which we won't go into in a recorded call. But in terms of my life, like this is how I've chosen to design my life. I run Design Hero 3 days a week. It's a 6-figure business and I run it 3 days a week. The rest of my week basically decided that I enjoyed teaching people how to do that. So 2 days a week, it's 2 days at the moment. I'm trying to aim for one, but it is 2 at the moment. 2 days a week I enjoy teaching freelancing and working on my coaching platform. And normally on a Friday I take it off and I go hiking, kayaking, reading, basically de-wind, and that I find that resets me for the week. That's just me. You might choose to work 2 days a week because you don't need as much money. You might have a side hustle you want to do 1 day a week. You might decide you want to do a charity project 2 days a week. Or you might enjoy having more money. You might enjoy the work that you do, and you might want to work 5 days a week. It's totally up to you. The key is having the choice to design your own life, because you only have one life and it's time to stop living someone else's. So something to think about. It sounds like you've already been thinking about this a lot, which is great. But if if you could take your life and money wasn't an issue, what would your life look like? What if you could design your ideal life? And you've got to work to get there, obviously, to get that life. But today you've learned, I hope, one system which gives you a bit of your freedom back in terms of your business. One system, it's just one system, and you're going to need more systems, obviously, for different parts of your business. You're going to need systems for sales, for finance, for networking, for communication with clients, scheduling. There's systems for all these things. And the reason why we do these systems is to get less input for more output, basically. In terms of this, what we're doing here is we're building leverage in our business. You can imagine if you want to lift a pile of bricks and you put your time and your effort in the wrong places, that you're going to need a huge amount of effort and a huge amount of time to lift that pile of bricks. All you need to do is just move things a little bit, bit, and you can lift that bricks with this less effort and less time with the same result. You've still moved that the same amount.
Right.
And that's what a lean, systemized business looks like. It's just a business with more leverage, doing the same things as everyone else, but with more leverage.